Well, hello everyone. Let me adjust my camera here and adjust my screen like that. First, I want to thank the two individuals who left likes before I started the stream. That is much appreciated. Let me make sure I can see myself on YouTube here because YouTube broadcasts to StreamYard. I hope everyone is enjoying their Friday. I had set the stream to go at 12:15, but Dr. Dunbar has a lot to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this stream going. All right, I see one person watching me. Thank you for watching. And, everyone, I'm going to make a concerted effort. Me and my best friend were talking 2 nights ago, and he says, you make quality content. You say, a lot. And I know that I do that. So I'm going to make a concerted effort to not do that. So let me see. Yep, we're live. I see the red live icon. Okay. Oh, I have a few more likes. Thank you. Really, Chris, thank you for stopping through and being here. Always a pleasure. Let me make this announcement over on my original. Oh, Aquatechy. Aquatechy is here. You haven't shown up on the. There you are. This is interesting because you have the StreamYard platform running and you have the YouTube platform running at the same time, and they're talking to each other. I'm doing some tech talk right now myself, but they're talking to each other. So when you write a comment in StreamYard, it takes a moment to go over to YouTube. And when you guys write me comments in YouTube, it takes a moment to come over to StreamYard. It's kind of cool how that happens. Okay, let me make this announcement over on my original channel in case anyone from there wants to come over and partake in this, because this is something that's arguably going to affect everybody. Okay, give it a like over here. Just bear with me. Everyone, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro now, and then I'm going to share it so as not to prolong this and belabor it. So I'll see you on the other side of the intro. All right, everyone. I promise I'm going to work on that intro, and I'm going to I'm gonna have a new one shortly. So I want to thank everyone who was here. I want to thank everyone who comes to this channel regularly. I'm thinking about Aquateki, really Chris, Sheed, Doug. I don't see Doug yet. Doug usually drops in part way through, but these are science topics. And once you start talking about pharmacology, toxicology, open source platforms, Python, singularities, black holes, automation, I think you just naturally lose a portion of the general public. So not everybody can get down with this. It's not celebrity gossip. It's not entertainment. So I appreciate those of you who are here and those of you who continue to come back. And if you're new, please consider subscribing. So this is gonna, as I was setting this up on the YouTube side in the backstage and what playlist this would go under. This is really interesting because this topic, it's kind of melding technology with social technology topics with social topics. And I'm going to unpack that. Everyone, I don't have AdSense or a super chat over here. So if you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App and PayPal are here. I'm going to be sharing quite a few links in the chat during this stream. So I see Sheed, we here is here. Me and Sheed and Alonzo, we're going to huddle up on my other channel tomorrow and talk about housing. But Sheed, it's interesting that Sheed is here because if I recall correctly, Sheed is works with his hands. He drives trucks, I believe, and she knows how to fix things. And I think you would fall under and fall into the blue collar sector. So just as I was getting this stream ready to go, I remembered something. From my past. So I've been in the DMV about 14 years. And before I came to the DMV, I did my postdoctoral research at the Wadsworth Center in Albany, New York. I did my PhD at the University of Michigan. You guys probably know that by heart at this point, but I had to do 2 more years of my scientific training. Albany is our state capital, so just like you have a Congressional Black Caucus annual legislative conference here in Washington D.C. for the entire United States. New York State has its own Black and Hispanic caucus weekend with its series of parties in February. So that's coming up next month. In any case, back in 2007 or 2008, I was at a party. I was at the Saturday night party. Because Albany's small, so there's only one. Here in DC, there are multiple parties on multiple nights. But a lawyer caught my eye. A lawyer caught my eye. So I was still toward the end of my training. I was green. I didn't understand uh, how degrees and how titles impact people and how people use their degrees as a form of self-esteem. So I approached this lady at this party and I said, "Hi, my name is so and so. What's your name? I saw you standing here with your drink." And one of the first things she said to me, she says, "I'm a lawyer." She didn't say it like that. I just said it very nice and polite. But she said, "I'm a lawyer," you know, and just kind of like, you need to respect my accolades. And I don't know who you are, but you should know who I am. I'm a lawyer. So a lot of people wear their titles on them, whether it's a lawyer or a doctor or I'm a special counselor for this. DC is known for that. I am the assistant to the senator. I am the assistant to the congressperson. I am head of HR. But I just thought about this because I'm going to read it. The second article is going to involve lawyers. What happens if all of that goes away? What happens if your title goes away? What happens if the need for your law degree goes away? A lot of people are going to face that. And the question is, what occupations and fields are safe and which ones are not safe? Which ones are facing extinction? So I just thought that I didn't share that story out of pettiness to say, well, she G checked me and told me, well, I'm a lawyer. No, I just kind of made that connection that, oh well, last weekend, Dr. King weekend, my father um, my father is into titles. My father is into academic credentials and who has reached what degree level and who is on whose level. For some people, that's a really big deal. So my father sent me a picture of a friend, an acquaintance slash friend who's in the legal sector, and she just became a judge. And my father sent me this picture, and he was quick to point out, she's a judge now. She's a judge. Okay. Now, I don't know if the judges will be safe once this automation comes, but it's one thing to be enamored with titles and accolades and white collar careers, but a question we have to ask ourselves is who is safe and is that all going to matter in another 10 to 20 years? What's still going to be here and what's going away? And the reason I pointed out Sheed for his skills and his training is that you all know, well, most of you, well, if you don't know, I had Dr. Patrick Dix, the king of automation here, just before the new year. And we talked about automation. I'm going to play a clip for you now. But Dr. Dix was very adamant about there are some things that are going to be needed and there are some things that are going to go away. And one of the things that we're always going to need are those, we're going to need our blue collar tradespeople because there are some things that the machines are not going to be able to replace, at least not in the short term. This is an excerpt from my discussion with Dr. Dix. Dr. Dix has his own channel on YouTube now. I've shared his content on my community tab. He's a bit of a rising star. Arguably, he's already a risen star. But if you're not subscribed to Dr. Patrick Dix, I would recommend you subscribe to him because he's an expert on this. I touch upon different scientific topics here, but he's an expert on this, a subject matter expert. Shout out to Alonzo Hall. So I'm going to play this clip. I'm going to read these two pieces. They're short, so you guys won't be sitting and listening to me read for long. And if any of you tech guys, like Professor Black Ops or Keep It Techie or Gabe Ayer, any of you guys, if you guys want to come up and say something on the topic, stay on topic. I'll drop the link. So here's an excerpt from my discussion with Dr. Patrick Dix from just before the new year. Professor Black Ops says, do you believe artificial intelligence, machine learning, and robotics are going to take 30 million jobs in 20 years?
I think it's going to be faster than that because the technology is moving so much faster. It's moving faster and faster. It's not going to even take 20 years. And I think it's going to be more than 30 million jobs. Just think about all the people that work in an administrative job, male or female. Just think about all the people. I'll probably talk about this on Erica's channel tomorrow night too. I was thinking about the topic to send her. Just think about all the people. Y'all know that are what we call the low-hanging fruit. Getting by is very old. You're not going to be able to get by anymore. You're not going to be able to have a minimal skill set and make money. You're going to really have to work or you're going to think. You're either going to work with your hands or you're going to work with your brain. And society, that's the where we're going. So everybody that wants to be a TikTok influencer, social media influencer, these OnlyFans pages, all of that stuff is going to slowly come to an end. Real talent is going to really have to shine through. And we are finding out many people do not have real talent. They talk it, but they can't put it down. You know, having a plan for life is good, but if you can't execute, it means nothing. And right now, with the upcoming financial stuff that's going on in the world, a lot of people are going to get tested. Just think about, we had this Arctic wave that came through recently. Well, this past weekend. Think about all the people whose light bill is going to be extremely high. 2, think about some of the people that had pipes bust in their house. 3, think about the people that thought they could do it on their own, but they can't. We have a lot of people that were not prepared for that. And just think about how people don't have the resources. You can't wing life anymore. Those days are over. I don't know any other way to say it. I'll be more raw with people tomorrow, but we're a lot of people are not going to make it in the future. There's no other way to say it. Many people are not going to make it. And the people that have the skill sets and have the knowledge, you're going to have to figure out, do you save yourself or save other people? But the thing is, people still have time to prepare for this stuff. It hasn't become widespread, but once this stuff becomes widespread, the game is over.
Okay, so the link to my discussion with Dr. Patrick Dix is here. And once again, Dr. Dix has his own channel. So Professor Black Ops, what's going on? Thank you for stopping through. As I said, I have 2 short pieces that I'm going to read. And then if some of you guys want to come up and say something on this, Professor Black Ops, you're one of the tech guys. I'll drop the link. If not, then I'll wrap up. So who is safe? Who's going to be safe? Who will still be needed in the future? Okay, so the second article is going to involve the AI lawyers, the AI lawyer, and then, but first I'm going to read about ChatGPT because I think the AI lawyer, from what I read, is running off of some version of ChatGPT, and everybody's talking about ChatGPT now, so I thought it was only appropriate to cover that first. This is a short piece. Now, before I go on, Dr. Dix called my attention to the article, "The Rise of the Useless Class." I read that article on my original channel. That one is done really well, and it's the same thing. Who's going to be needed in the future? And actually, in that article, they actually give predictions in terms of percentages of which jobs are going to get wiped away or which jobs are likely to get wiped away. So the link to that video, "The Rise of the Useless Class," is here. That video is teetering. It's at 999 views. So it needs one more view to reach 1,000. I think it will. But anyway, let me jump in here because this is my lunch break. This piece is entitled, and keep letting me know what you think there in the chat. This piece is entitled GPT, How to Use the Viral AI Chatbot That's Taking the World by Storm. This was written by Fiona Agamuo. She looks African. This was published on January 19th, 2023. So this is very recent. The cool thing about this channel is that for much of this stuff, I'm learning along with you all. Hey, y'all, if you see spam coming in like this right here, please, for those of you who have wrenches, please delete it because I don't want my stream taken down. Okay. By now, you've probably heard of ChatGPT, the general purpose chatbot prototype that the internet is obsessed with right now. It's quickly become the dominant example of the influence AI-generated content will have in the future, showing just how powerful these tools can be. It's made by OpenAI, well known for having developed the text to image generator DALL-E, and it's currently available for anyone to try out for free, even if there have been some issues as of late with accessing this incredible technology. Here's everything you need to know about ChatGPT, including how it works and how to use it. Okay, this article is below in the description box in case you all want a copy for yourself and you want to read this for your self. I appreciate that, Sheed. This infographic shows examples and capabilities and limitations. I'll just read the first row. So an example is, I think you can ask this thing, explain quantum computing in simple terms. And then it remembers what the user said earlier in the conversation. And one limitation is that it may occasionally generate incorrect information. For the second example, do you have any creative ideas for a 10-year-old's birthday? It allows for the user to provide follow-up corrections, and it may occasionally produce harmful instructions or biased content. You guys can read that if you want. Is ChatGPT free to use? Yes, the basic version of ChatGPT is completely free to use. It's not free for OpenAI to continue running it, of course. Estimates are currently that OpenAI spends around $3 million per month to continue running ChatGPT, which is around $100,000 per day. Beyond the cost of the servers themselves, some egregious information has recently come out about what else has been done to train the language model against producing offensive content. OpenAI has also recently announced a new paid premium version of its chatbot called ChatGPT Professional. You can currently only join the waitlist, though, and the monthly price is unknown. The features may be available in ChatGPT Premium. The features that may be available in ChatGPT Premium include no throttling, an unlimited number of prompts, faster response, and no blackouts. I don't know what throttling means. If one of the tech guys come up, maybe they can explain what that means. ChatGPT network error. Many people attempting to use ChatGPT recently have been getting an at capacity notice when trying to access the site. It's likely behind the move to try and use unofficial paid apps, which have already flooded app stores and scammed thousands into paying for a free service. Because of how much ChatGPT costs to run, it seems as if OpenAI has been limiting access when its servers are at capacity. It can take as long as a few hours to wait out, but if you're patient, you'll get through eventually. Do you need to download ChatGPT? ChatGPT is available via a web page, so no downloading is needed. OpenAI has yet to release an official app, despite the fact that app stores are full of fake versions. These should be installed and used with caution, as they are not official ChatGPT apps. You can apparently download ChatGPT logically through GitHub, though it's not necessary to use it. How to use ChatGPT. The ChatGPT webpage is simple and includes an area for the results to populate and a text box at the bottom of the page for users to type certain inquiries. We started with questions, however, OpenAI recommends inputting a statement for the best possible result. So you can blow this window up here. So it shows an example. She asks a question here: how is the solar system made? I'm not going to read this verbatim, but it looks like it gave this paragraph here. And as with the recommendation on this screen here, she made a statement. explain how the solar system was made. And the Chat GPT robot gave a more extensive answer. So as of now, it seems that it depends on what prompt you give it, and that's going to dictate the response you get back. Now, the concern for this, uh, me being a writer myself, the concern I think is that students are going to use this to write their papers, or it's going to be used in some way to in education to do less work. So I think academic circles are worried about this right now in that regard. Okay, for example, inputting explain how the solar system was made will give a more detailed result with more paragraphs than how was the solar system made. Even though both inquiries will give fairly detailed results, you also have the option for more specific inputting requests for an essay with a specific number of paragraphs or a Wikipedia page. We got an extremely detailed result with the request. Write a 4-paragraph essay explaining Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. If there is enough information available, the generator will fulfill the commands with accurate details. Otherwise, there is potential for ChatGPT to begin filling in gaps with incorrect data. OpenAI notes that these instances are rare. The brand also notes that ChatGPT also currently has limited knowledge of world events after 2021. Even so, you have the option to put queries continuously. Um, Even so, you have the option to input queries continuously until you close your browser or reset the thread to clear your previous requests. You also have the option to use ChatGPT in dark mode or light mode. You can access the OpenAI Discover server and blog from this webpage and log out from there. Okay, we're almost done with this one. Please keep letting me know what you think there in the chat, or if you have questions, Professor Black Ops, I'll drop the link after I read the second piece on the AI lawyer. Using the Chat GPT chatbot is fairly simple, as all you have to do is type in your text and receive the information. However, OpenAI does require an account before you can use any of its tools. So if you don't have one, you will have to register. You have the option of choosing an easy login with a Google or Microsoft account. Otherwise, if you have any other kind of email, you can enter it manually. After this, you must enter a phone number. However, keep in mind that you cannot use a virtual phone number to register for OpenAI. You will then receive a confirmation number, which you will enter on the registration page to complete the setup. Once you see some housekeeping rules about ChatGPT, including potential errors in data, how OpenAI collects data, and how users can submit feedback, you know you have successfully registered. Okay, how much longer does this one go? I'm going to skip down here because this is what academic circles are concerned about. The use of ChatGPT has been full of controversy, with many onlookers considering how the power of the AI will change everything from search engines to novel writing. Essay writing for students is one of the most obvious examples of where ChatGPT could become a problem. Teachers, ChatGPT might not write this article all that well, but it feels particularly easy to use for essay writing. Teachers, school administrators, and developers are already finding different ways around this and banning the use of ChatGPT in schools. Others are more optimistic about how ChatGPT might be used for teaching, but plagiarism is undoubtedly going to continue being an issue in terms of education in the future. Okay, that's the end of that. The article is below. I skipped over this part regarding prompts and examples. You know what? I'll just read this. This is short. I'll just read this. ChatGPT prompts and examples. Well, that's the fun part. Since its launch, people have been experimenting to discover everything the chatbot can and can't do, and some of the results have been mind-blowing. Learning the kinds of prompts and follow-up prompts that ChatGPT responds well to requires some experimentation, though. Much like we've learned to get the information we want from traditional search engines, it takes some time to get the best results from ChatGPT. Heck, there are already online courses being published and sold on the matter. It really depends on what you want out of it. To start out, try using it to write a template blog post, for example, or even blocks of code if you're a programmer. Our writers experimented with ChatGPT 2, attempting to see if it could handle holiday shopping or even properly interpret astrological makeup. In both cases, we found limitations to what it could do while still being thoroughly impressed by the results. But the fun is trying it out yourself, whether you think ChatGPT is an amazing piece of tech or will lead to the destruction of the internet as we know it. It's worth trying out for yourself to see just what it's capable of. Okay, so that's that. So let's read about the AI lawyer. Let's see what that's all about. If you're just coming in, please hit that like button. The likes are free and they help with the engagement. And if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing to the channel. Okay. So lawyers, are lawyers safe from all of this automation? This piece is from CBS News. It is entitled AI-Powered Robot Lawyer Will Be First of Its Kind to Represent Defendant in Court. Okay. And I read this article already, and it looks like there's already pushback from the law community and the bar. So they're looking at this. They're looking at this, and they're saying, you know what? We don't want this. No, this is bad. This is evil. Send it back. Send it back. Okay. Let me hydrate here. And let me minimize this guy here. All right. A robot lawyer powered by artificial intelligence will be the first of its kind to help a defendant fight a traffic ticket in court next month. Joshua Browder, CEO of DoNotPay, said the company's AI creation runs on a smartphone, listens to court arguments, and formulates responses for the defendant. The AI lawyer tells the defendant what to say in real time through headphones. The artificial intelligence firm has already used AI generated form letters and chatbots to help people secure refunds for in flight Wi Fi that didn't work, as well as to lower bills and dispute parking tickets, among other issues, according to Browder. All told, the company has relied on these AI templates to win more than 2 million customer service disputes and court cases on behalf of individuals against institutions and organizations, he added. It has raised $27.7 million from tech-focused venture capital firms, including Andreessen Horowitz and Crew Capital. In the past year, AI tech has really developed and allowed us to go back and forth in real time with corporations and governments, he told CBS Money Watch of recent advances. We spoke live to lower with companies and customer service reps to lower bills with companies. And what we're doing next month is to try to use the tech in a courtroom for the first time. If the robot lawyer loses the case, DoNotPay will cover any fines, Browder said. Browder declined to disclose the name of the client and the courtroom. So legal in some, but not in most courtrooms. Some courts allow defendants to wear hearing aids, some versions of which are Bluetooth enabled. That's how Browder determined that DoNotPay's technology can legally be used in this case. However, the tech isn't legal in most courtrooms. Some states require that all parties consent to be recorded, which rules out the possibility of a robot lawyer entering many courtrooms. Of the 300 cases DoNotPay considered for a trial of its robot lawyer, only 2 were feasible. It's within the letter of the law, but I don't think anyone could ever imagine this would happen. Browder said, it's not in the spirit of law, but we're trying to push things forward, and a lot of people can't afford legal help. If these cases are successful, it will encourage more courts to change their rules. So this is what I talked about earlier. Lawyers would not support this. The ultimate goal, according to Browder, is to democratize legal representation by making it free for those who can't afford it. In some cases, eliminating the need for pricey attorneys. But given that the technology is illegal in many courtrooms, he doesn't expect to be able to commercialize the product anytime soon. The courtroom stuff is more advocacy, he said. It's more to encourage the system to change. He is well aware of the challenge and hurdles on the horizon. When he tweeted about demoing DoNotPay's robot lawyer in court, lawyers threatened him and told him he'd be sent to jail, he told CBS Money Watch. There are a lot of lawyers and bar associations that would not support this. Okay. So there's fear that, there's the fear that this will wipe away their profession. Aquateki says, collectively, I think the legal profession might be the only profession that stands a chance of limiting how far AI can advance in that arena. Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting is that a lot of our politicians, they're lawyers. President Clinton was a lawyer. President Obama was a lawyer. Many of our senators, well, our Supreme Court justices, they're all lawyers. So if their profession gets wiped away or greatly diminished, where will our politicians and elected officials come from? Who knows? But that's the pathway with which many of them go to where they are, to Capitol Hill, to the White House, to the Supreme Court, state senators, governors. That's how they get there. I don't know if this is a play on words. The LED attorney, the lead attorney, I don't know if that's a play on words or if you're being serious. UFO, a kamikaze one. Shout out to the lead attorney. Putting ChatGPT through law school. Let me read that again. Putting ChatGPT through law school. Browder wants to arm individuals with the same tools that large corporations can typically access but are out of reach for those without deep resources. What are we trying to do? What we are trying to do is automate consumer rights, Browder said. New technologies typically fall into the hands of big companies first, and our goal is to put it in the hands of the people first. AI-powered chatbot, ChatGPT, has exploded in popularity recently for its ability to spit out coherent essays on wide-ranging topics in under 1 minute. The technology has drawn interest from investors, with the Wall Street Journal reporting that parent company OpenAI could soon attract investments valuing it at $29 billion. But Browder highlighted its shortcomings and in some cases lack of sophistication. ChatGPT is very good at holding conversations, but is terrible at knowing the law. We've had to retrain these AIs to know the law, Browder said. AI is a high school student, and we're sending it to law school. All right, there we are. And that's the end of that. Professor Black Ops, you know what? Or anybody, if you want to come up, I'll hang out for about 20 more minutes. I just thought of that question just now. If the law sector gets gutted, yeah, where will our elected officials come from? It used to be that many of our elected officials were average Joes, and they were only meant to come to Washington for a certain period of time, and they would go back home and go back to the profession. But since then, at least in our modern times, they've made a career out of politics. So this could be the beginning of us going back to the old way, where political appointments are temporary. Professor Black Ops, what's going on?
I'm doing all right, man. Can you hear me okay? How are you doing today, doctor?
Yeah, good. I can hear you.
Oh, the funny thing is I did a stream on it too is I think lawyers are going to take a minute to take out. Paralegals are done, right? Because they're really the research arm that gives all that data to the lawyers, right? To synthesize and come up with, certain nuances I think ChatGPT is going to struggle to have. But paralegals are done, right? So I think it's going to take a while to get there, right? Number one, they're fighting. And two is, if you understand the legal profession, Westlaw's their research arm, right? So they're just going to take all the data from Westlaw and just feed it into ChatGPT, right? So if you're a company, I work for a large organizations, they all join Westlaw. All the attorney goes over there, what? Because that's going to give you the cases of precedence, right? When you do your research. So you're going to just go into Westlaw. Microsoft's going to invest $10 billion in them. So they're just going to buy Westlaw and just put all that data into ChatGPT in the future. That's how I see it working as one thing is. And currently I use it a lot on my job just to double check. I do a lot with contracts, RFPs. I work with a ton of attorneys, and I just use ChatGPT to check on my research on what I'm doing, right? I do a lot of compliance, HIPAA, IRS stuff. So I put that stuff in ChatGPT just to see what it'll come out with. But I agree with Dr. Dix. I just don't think it's going to happen as fast as we think it's going to happen.
Okay, so Professor Black Ops, is it like a search engine that can pull information and then synthesize it together and then give it back to you?
Yes, that's what it is. Because on Google, right, you search, then you got to read the article like you doing, and you synthesize it. ChatGPT goes through all those articles, reads them, then says, it takes all the information together and says, here's the output I think you want, right? That's just the next phase of Google, right? You doing the synthesizing, you using your PhD skills. You read the article, you like, this is my opinion. ChatGPT reads the article and goes, this is my opinion, right? So I think it's the next step on that. That's why people are saying it's the Google killer.
Oh, they're saying it's the Google killer.
Yeah. A lot of people believe it's going to kill Google. I disagree, because if you look at Google now, Google been doing AI for 10 years. They actually fired the top AI person, PhD, because they disagreed ethically with them. They're just going to go buy the next ChatGPT. Microsoft Bing sucks, which was the Google killed Bing. Microsoft just said we're gonna give $10 billion to ChatGPT. We back in the game. Google got infinite money. They're just gonna buy something close to it and keep building.
Okay. So going back to the law, so Westlaw, I'm not familiar with the legal sector in terms of the specifics. So Westlaw, there are research.
Yeah, what Westlaw did is what Westlaw does is every case you have can have precedence. When you go up to the Supreme Court, you have precedence. When you locally, it could be precedent. They took all the cases and put it in one spot. So attorney can go to Westlaw and they do research. They said, okay, this person sued. They kind of do a Google search and it says, these are the cases we believe are close to this. This is some nuanced cases you can review. And they just read it all. And like we talked about, they give you their synopsis or opinion. ChatGPT's doing that. It's just giving you opinion too, right? The next step of that.
Okay. So ChatGPT, it synthesizes information, and so it's going to have numerous applications. So one is writing your school essays.
Yeah. That's the beauty of it, though. Which is scary is they fed everything into it. Like you just showed it on your screen. The lady said, "How was the solar system created?" Right. So it did all of Google research. It says, "Here you go. This is my thoughts on it." Right. I mean, that's what you did when you did the article. You asked the question and it says, with Google, when you ask the question, it says, here's the link. That says, here's the link, and I read them, and this is my opinion on them. Right. The other cool thing is I'm gonna start playing with is you can train it. So you have a specialty in what's your specialty, Doc? I know you do compounds analysis and stuff. So
yeah, pharmacology and toxicology.
So you could take your expertise, put that into ChatGPT, right? To help it help you. But of course, when you help it help you, it might get you fired. So I'm going to start training it. So I'm going to do a stream with me training it on cybersecurity and compliance, to be exact. You got that look on your face, Doctor. What you got for me?
I was just thinking, so does that mean everybody can use their own individual version of it? Or is it all one big
what they doing
entity?
Now, that's why it's hanging up and having problems. What happens is every search you do, if you add on to that search, you can say, now, for this search, I believe these are answers. It saves them in your browser right now, right? In the future, I think what it's going to do, and I'm just guessing, it's going to say, you are expert in your field. Take information from you and put it in ChatGPT for other people like you. I think they're going to start doing that in the future and says, okay, this is a SME. This is a trusted source. Train me, right? Because if you can get free training, right, you can keep using it and selling it, right? So I think that's the next step. So when you train it, basically, if you look at the side of your browser, it keeps all your answers on the side of your browsers, like your searches, and you can build them up. So I'm going to show you how to train, and as you answer question, you can add to the question. It's going to save your answers and replay them back for you if you ever come up with that type of question again.
Okay. All right. Well, that so you don't predict it's going to move as fast as Dr. Dix thinks, or
the reason I said it, if you look throughout history, it never moves quick. Number one is depending on what you're doing, you got to have capital investments for that, right? If you can, and look, they talking about $3 million. If you're a small company, you can't afford $3 million. Right, I think one of your articles, the private version was $3 million, right? So that investment, right? So as we always do, rich people gonna take of it, companies gonna take of it, and people with money gonna take of it. Then it's gonna trickle down to the everyday person. So I think it's gonna take a while, and I agree with that. But I think you can train it to handle those nuances, and I think that's gonna be the next step. Because I actually asked it, because I dabble in real estate. I said, write me a contract in Indiana for I'll purchase cash offer. It wrote a nice contract. It was pretty accurate. It had a couple things off that was for my county that's special, but I told it write a contract. It was pretty good. When I looked at it, I was like, ooh, that's a pretty good contract. So it's doing legal type stuff, because most things you doing legal for the average day person is boilerplate. A parking ticket is boilerplate. All the stuff you look at, DoNotPay, all that stuff was boilerplate. Right, so ChatGPT to do, like he said, you're not going for capital deletion where you got to come up with some nuances. If the glove don't fit, it want to quit. Now it's right. Most of your stuff when you go into court is, did you pay your fee? Did you pay your rent? Right? It's pretty much boilerplate stuff, right? Until you get in a business and you start doing nuanced stuff. So most of the stuff it can do is boilerplate. If you look at everything on that website, I went to their website, it's pretty boilerplate.
All right. So when you guys say nuance, you're talking, so you just made a comparison between going to traffic court and the OJ case. So
Yeah.
they would have a hard time with,
how's it going to tell you to put the glove on and it might not fit?
Size.
Right. It's right, because it's not boilerplate.
Yeah.
Now in the future, right, if you fit it enough cases, it might say try the glove on, right? But that's not boilerplate. That's not boilerplate, right? Usually it's like, okay, did you pay your ticket, or who was there, or that type of stuff. That's what I call boilerplate.
Okay.
When you talk about traffic cop, it's like, were you parked in the wrong space? Yes or no, right? If it's yes, you got to pay your ticket, right? Or no, right? So most of that stuff are boilerplate. Most cable companies, they don't want you to leave, so they'll haggle with you on your bill, right? That's boilerplate. I'm gonna leave. We give you 50% discount. Okay, stay, right?
Okay. All right. So it sounds like it would help out kind of on the lower end, on the simpler court proceedings.
Yeah, but that's what gets the average day guys, the normal, that stuff. That's the stuff get average day people, because if you don't have an attorney, number one is if most people, you're smart enough to, if it's a boilerplate, you can represent yourself in court, doc, right? You're intellectual. Most people are scared, right? So that's how they get killed in court, because they don't have a lawyer, right? So a lot of that, like you said, basic stuff, I think ChatGPT in the future, once again, if the legal profession lets it, like they already fighting it. So, but like Dr. Dick said, I think you see automation coming in so many other factors, like paralegal, right? They do all that research. I think ChatGPT now can do the research, give an opinion on this research, and just give it over to the lawyer, right? So I think that's off. So there's a lot of automation. I think ChatGPT, call centers, right? Because now with that script it did, you can have because you can have Word read your essays, right? That's so common now. So if it writes something beautiful, it could just read it on the phone, right? So now I think your call centers are really going to start cutting Xing people out, right? They sent that overseas, and I think that's really going to just really think. So there's a lot of jobs, like Dr. Dick says, I think is going to be wiped out. I just don't think it's going to be as fast as he said.
You know what? I never thought about Word reading the documents for us. I just always thought of it as, okay, this is grammatically wrong, but you're right. Microsoft Word is
right
reading and critiquing our grammar.
Right. And it can actually speech read your paper now. I think there's a speech volume in there where it can actually read it back to you. So you're going to have ChatGPT write it, right? Then Word can just read it, or some voice synthesizer can read it right back to somebody else. The weird thing is people don't realize this. I think I said this on your show. I always call that the first automation was manual, was Word Perfect. Because I'm older than you, but you remember it used to be 10,000 AAs in the country, 100,000 administrative assistants. Everybody types their own paper. You wiped out that whole industry. It used to be typing pools in the 50s where ladies just typing, 100 people typing papers. That don't even exist anymore. The only person get an administrative assistant is what? The C-suite. Everybody else types their own papers. People don't even think about that as automation. We took out about 100,000 AAs across the country, a couple million easy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that took forever, but that's part of the automation. I don't think people think of automation. But I'm like, dude, you cut off a lot of jobs, man, when they did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, Professor Black Ops, thank you for coming up. Do you have anything else?
No, I wouldn't fear it. I just think you need to study, work on your craft. Just add ChatGPT to what you're doing in to make you better. Once again, I have it. When I do research, just check my research. Whatever you in, just use it to see, once again, I do a lot of research in legal RFPs, so I just have it double check what I'm doing. So, like you said, just sign up. I think it's gonna help you more than it's gonna hurt you, right? And like you said, and I think Dr. Dix is telling us, you can kind of see what jobs are going to disappear. So you need to figure out if you need to upscale, go horizontally, or get you a new set of skills, right? So I think you can see what's coming. So you just got to be proactive.
Well, you know what? I'm not sure about that. You can see what jobs are going to go away. I mean, I guess I never really sat and thought about that, but
it's easy. Google it. They tell you the top 20 jobs on the internet is going to go away. Gartner tells you. Everybody has their hypothesis, so there's a ton of them out there. As a Gnostic, shout out to BTS. I just researched that. So if you Google that, it tells you the top 20 that they believe is going to go away. So people help you do that research. And I think I'm going to do a stream on that. But yeah, just Google it. It tells you what's number one, what's number two, and what's hot. Then two is you can see your company buying technology or technology investment. If you're a cashier, you can see that coming, right? Everybody self-checkout. We still got a lot of cashiers out there, but you can see in the next 5 years, ain't gonna be no cashiers, man. So,
hey, last weekend I noticed I went through a Target here, and the line for the self checkout was like all the way down the main aisle.
Yep.
And then on Facebook, some of my friends from Buffalo said they saw the same thing there. So, is that what that is? Or we have fewer human cashiers, and now everybody's going through the self-checkout?
Yeah. They force you to go to self-checkout, because when you go, like I go to Whole Food, which is even there, they like it's 1 million people. They got 2 manual checkout lines, so they like self-checkouts out. If not, you got to be in line, right? And I'm old. I still carry cash, so you got to have a card to go over there. So no, that's what they're doing. So you can see right now, as we talked about the secretaries and the AA gone. Right now you're seeing the disappearing of the cashier.
Wow. Okay.
What do you say? 9% not making what we would be logical based choices, and AI does not factor in that yet. I think I don't know. I'm in the tech industry, so I see it with programs. I was actually on the channel. We actually had it writing code. So we had it writing flawless code. We had it writing some Java, some Node.js, some web server. I was doing AWS, so I had to ask in Amazon web server questions how to build stuff in the cloud. So it's getting pretty good. So once again, tech is more logical based, so I can see those type of jobs. I'm not saying disappearing, but there's a shortage, so it's going to fill that void, right? And two is, I know you got to go, is when you make minimum pay $20, that makes it easy for you to displace yourself, because now it's the same cost for the AI. What would I pay a person over 5 years, right? So, and if, like Dr. Dick said, I went to McDonald's, there's no cashiers. You order on kiosk, it comes in the back, you tap your card, they call your number, you run out the door. So I didn't even really touch a cashier. So, and that McDonald's just have 8 cashiers in the 85 when I was younger. So now it's got 1, really a half. She comes around the back and gives you change and goes back there and makes food. So, but that's the future. Don't be scared. Google it. You can see what jobs are going to be eliminated. Make sure you keep going up the curve. I worry about my brothers. I think we need to, get higher up, even if that's in blue collar, white collar. We just got to keep upskilling ourselves and getting better skills. So that's all I got, Doc. I'm gonna let you go back.
So before you go, Professor Black Ops, so in terms of these robots and these applications becoming self-aware, how far is that?
That's hard to say. A lot of people think Google has some self-aware and they shut it off. If you Google Facebook, they told the computer to communicate more efficiently. They came back the next day. It was doing something binary and octal together, and they didn't know what it was doing, but the 2 machines was communicating. So I don't know if that's aware. I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know if it just figured a way to communicate and it just did what it was told, right? But I think we're at least 50 years away from that. I think you need more computer power. I think you need quantum computing to get there, right? That level of node. I used to study neural networks, so you touching on one of my favorite subjects. I don't get it. We talk about neural networks and the amount of neural networks of a brain. To get that kind of power, I think we would need to be up at the quantum level. Computers, and I think that's at least 50. You did a stream on that. I was on your stream, so I think that's at least 50 years away for mass commercial use.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. All right. Well, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I enjoyed your stream. I always reach out if you need me. I'll show up. Everybody have a happy Friday, everybody. Thanks.
All right. Aquatechy says, I have a local Walmart that has yet to embrace self-checkout and yet won't hire sufficient cashiers to handle crowds. Definitely an anomaly. And then UFO Kamikaze says, I went to the grocery store last night and most of the guys, including me, were using the self-checkout while the cashiers seemed confused about it. Okay. Well, everyone, I am going to shut this string down. Aquatechy, thank you for the generous Cash App. I always appreciate those and your continued viewership. If you're watching on the playback, if you're watching right now, and you also want to make a donation, that information is here. Let's see. Please consider joining my newsletter. This link is below in the description box. I suspect those folks who are watching have seen this a million times, but advertising is a part of capitalism. There's a 2-paragraph greeting, and then you just scroll to the bottom and click this button, and it takes you there to the sign-up box. And you enter your email address, and you're a part of the club at that point. I'm always looking for more names to add to the list. All right, everyone. I have some more things to do this afternoon, so I'm going to wrap this up. Enjoy the rest of your Friday and your weekend. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude, and always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.